Hello everybody, welcome here to Musicians Edition. I'm Evan on the guitar here in this one. We're going to be continuing to talk about some of our less common chords here. Today we're going to talk about add chords. So I did just recently put a video up on sus chords. If you are interested in those, go ahead and check that one out. These two are pretty related, so we're going to talk a little bit about both, but focus mostly on these add 9 chords in this one. So add chords, all we're doing is we are taking our standard 1, 3, 5 triad, we are adding one extra note on top of that. Something that is not the 1, the 3, or the 5, and we're also going to exclude the 7th because those just get called 7th chords. Those are pretty common chords anyway. So what we have left is we have the 2, we have the 4, and we have the 6. With an add chord, we're playing 1, 3, 5, and then adding in at least one of those extra notes. So the one that we play most frequently out of those is adding in the 2 on the guitar. And we can call that an add 2, or we can call it an add 9. All it is we just add 7 onto the number. It's the same thing, the 2 versus the 9. If we're calling it an add 9, we're usually playing the 2 just an octave higher, which is the most common way to play it on the guitar because we're not often going to be playing like a C and the D right next to it. It sounds better when it is played an octave higher. So don't get confused if you see it written different ways. It's most commonly going to be written as that add 9 on guitar, but if you see it as add 2, it's really the same thing anyway. We're just going to be adding in that second note, the one that comes in between the 1 and the 3. So if we're playing like a C chord, for example, we have C as the 1, E as the 3. We're going to add in D, which is the 2 that squeezes right between those two. We're going to find a spot where we can throw in a D into there. So here you go. You can see a tab picture here of our C major chord. So a combination of C, E, and G are 1, 3, and 5 is what you find in a C major chord. If we want to add in a D, which is our second in between the C and E for this add 2 or add 9, we're going to go ahead and find where's an easy spot I can play the D. We still want C as the root note. We're going to find somewhere else we can find that D here. And you can go ahead. This is what that tab would look like if we added in a D. We're going to replace one of the higher C's and change that up to a D. So we still get our C, E, G, our full 1, 3, 5 triad. We just found a spot to add in this extra note to. That's our addition here. All right, and to just hear how that sounds like, you have a regular C major. And let's hear it if we throw in that extra D for C add 9. So one more time here, C and C add 9. So go ahead and play around with those. You can hear it adds a bit more color to the chord, and that's pretty much what we're going to get with any of these add 9s that we're going to be throwing in. A bit extra color, sometimes a bit extra tension coming with it, used kind of similarly as the way those sus chords were used. We might have it be resolved back to, for this example, back to regular C. We might have this, then we resolve it to regular C. Or we might have it resolve onto another chord that sounds nice with it. So those other ones, outside of adding in the 2, we can also add in that 4, add in that 6. For the 4, it could also be called add 11. So add 4 or add 11 is the same thing. Add 6 or add 13 are the same things as well too, but those are really just not that common on guitar. Maybe in jazz, more frequently on piano you'll run into those, but on guitar really you're just going to see these 9ths pop up most frequently. So those are the ones that we're going to talk about. We'll look at some chord shapes, play a Pink Floyd song that uses these chords as well too. So what we're going to do for all these is we're going to take a regular chord shape, make a modification to it that's going to add in this second somewhere. So again, for the C chord, it was finding a D to put in. For an F chord, it's going to be finding a G to put in, and it's going to be pretty much following that same system. So you saw it on the guitar. If you want to see how it looks on the piano, here it is as well too. Again, we have C, E, G. We're going to find a spot for that D. If we have an F, A, C chord, we're going to find a spot for that G pretty much. Just that extra note getting added in. So let's look at some shapes. C add 9 we just talked about. Here's that shape one more time. Pretty easy one to play, so that one's nice to use. E add 9 is another one we can look at. For this one, we are just going to go ahead and play a regular E major shape with 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret. We should be familiar with that one. And the extra note we're gonna add in, because this high string is E openly, if we go ahead and fret the second fret on that high string, we end up finding our second, which in this case is F sharp. So we can go ahead and use our 4 fingers, second fret, first fret, and then second fret with our pinky on that high E, and we turn that E into an E add 9. There it is, a bit extra color with that extra note, that F sharp we're adding in. All right, so our next shape is gonna be F add 9. So for this F add 9, we need to find a space to put a G. So here's our shape for this one. We're gonna fret these 2 right here, these 2 highest strings on the first fret. And you can do that with just pushing both down with your index finger. We're gonna leave the next string open here. That third one right there is gonna stay open. And we're gonna go ahead and fret on the 3rd fret right here on that 4th string. Okay, so that's gonna look like barring these 2. And I'm gonna use my ring finger to sneak up here to play that 3rd fret. And we're gonna get an F add 9 here without playing these bottom 2 strings. All right, that's our F1. We're gonna look at A add 9 next. So here's our 4th one, A add 9. Where we would usually have second fret, second fret, second fret. We're gonna swap out this A here, move it up 2, and we're gonna turn that into a B, which is the second with an A chord. So we're gonna go ahead and play. We can use our index finger for that first, second fret one, and then we can go ahead and stretch out with our pinky to go 2 frets higher up here. And we're gonna use either our ring or middle finger back here. So we're gonna go 2, 4 with that pinky. I'm using my middle finger back on the other 2. Kind of a harder stretch on this one, but see if you guys can make it work. And you should get that with your A add 9 chord. All right, our last one, this is gonna be a really easy one that is a pretty common shape because this is one we can even bar and move around. And that's gonna be E minor add 9. So E minor add 9, to play regular E minor, we just second fret right here and we're done. E minor. We're gonna move this right here up 2. That's our E that's gonna get moved up to F sharp right here. So we're gonna go ahead and play 2, 4 instead of 2, 2 with these 2 strings here. So E minor add 9. E minor, E minor add 9. And again, this is one that can be barred and moved around. You gotta really stretch your pinky to do it, so it's a bit easier to do on some of these higher frets. So for example, if I bar the 5th fret, I can use my middle finger to play the 2nd fret right here, and then I can use my pinky to make that stretch up to the 4th fret, and now I've got it barred, and so I can move this shape around to really play any minor add 9 chord that I want. All right, and those are our shapes. So those are some common ways you can use these add 9 chords. Play around with those shapes. You can always use this guy right here to move those up and down the fretboard as well too. All right, and last up for us is we're gonna go ahead and look at one song that uses some of these add 9 chords so we can see how they're used in a song. We're gonna look at Breathe by Pink Floyd. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
This lesson is brought to you by the Musician's Edition practice book. Make goals and keep track of progress throughout the whole year. When you're done with this video lesson, don't forget to mark this practice time in your Musician's Edition practice book. Now back to the video.
So that is going to be Breathe by Pink Floyd. Let's look at our chords we're going to be using. We got the E minor add 9 that we just played. That is the first chord played in this song. You can hear this pattern played during the intro as well as the verses, just to change up during the chorus. But this is the pattern played throughout the majority of the song. So E minor add 9 we just played, 2nd fret, 4th fret. I'm using index and ring, or you can use index and pinky to get those. That's our strumming pattern one more time. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and shift that over now to an A major, a regular A major, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, hopefully a chord you are familiar with. We're not gonna play the low E. All right, and we're gonna sneak in a sus chord here, actually. We're gonna sneak in a sus chord by fretting. So what I'm gonna do is use my pinky to play the 3rd fret of this guy right here. So I'm gonna be playing 2nd fret through a little bit of this, all on the 2nd fret. And then I'm gonna sneak in that 3rd fret for that sus chord right here. And then come back to regular A. So what it is a little bit of regular A, sneak in that 3rd fret sus, lift up to finish on regular A again. So like this. And one more time like this. And we're gonna go back to E minor add 9, and that's our pattern. So here it is all together here a bit slowly. And back again. There it is. So that is Breathe, intro, verse part, just going back and forth with those 2 chords. We even put in a little sus chord on there as well too. And that is actually a sus 4 chord that we added in. We turned a major 3 into a 4 with that one, replacing that 3 with the 4. So that is E minor add 9 to A major to A sus 4. Those are our chords used in Breathe by Pink Floyd. If you listen to the studio version, it's more of an electric guitar playing arpeggio, but this is an acoustic version that David Gilmour has played a lot as well too. So a good one to practice these add chords with. So go ahead, have fun playing around with these guys, add a little more color to your chords, and we'll see you next time.